Hello, my name's Sinead and I'm a Student Recruitment and Outreach Officer at the University of Westminster. My job is to help students with their transition to university, ensuring that they're making the right decision for them. So hopefully today I'll be able to help you with a session on how to narrow down your course options aimed at Level 3 BTEC students looking to study business. First of all, we're going to look at the options available to you, giving you a snapshot of most courses, because I know there's quite a lot on offer, so it can be really confusing. Then we'll look at what things you need to consider when choosing between courses and how you can do research to narrow down to the 5 choices that you're allowed to make on UCAS. So the most broad courses out there are business management and business studies. They get to do a bit of everything. So you might do a little bit of accounting, a bit of HR, a bit of marketing, just to learn about each area. A lot of these courses give you the option to pick your module choices to what interests you as you begin to learn more about each area. And because of that flexibility, it's one of the most popular courses out there and great if you're unsure of what area exactly you want to do. Then there's the more specialist courses that'll look at one area of business in a lot of detail. So these are great if you know where your interests lie or if you've got a specific career in mind. You might have experienced a bit of some of these in your BTEC syllabus, so if you did like those modules, it's quite good to explore that in more detail and see if you'd like to study that at university level. Accounting, finance and economics will make use of your math skills as they all focus on the flow of money. So accounting's focused on record keeping, so the spending and income within a company. Finance is closely related, but it's generally focused more on looking to the future and planning investments. Economics is a bit distinct as it's a social science that looks at understanding how money and resources flow within society. So these degrees can all open doors to careers in banking, insurance and procurement. International business degrees are great for understanding how business is done all around the world, and you'll usually get to spend a bit of time studying and working overseas to get first-hand experience. Human resource management, or HMR as you'll most commonly hear it called, is maybe something you've not heard of, and it's essential to every business because it's about managing people and employment law. Marketing looks at the areas like branding, consumer behaviour, strategy and social media. So you can study it more broadly with just a marketing degree or focus on more specific areas like marketing communications, which is how a brand presents and communicates itself to its customers, or digital marketing, which will look at the brand's online presence. Entrepreneurship is great for understanding how to turn an idea into a fully fledged business. So many courses will have a self-managed module to give you a bit of time and focus to start your own business whilst you study with guidance from academic staff. And then there's some more options of things that you likely haven't heard of, like sports management and fashion business management, which can be a great way to combine your hobby and passions with business, and then the huge industry of travel and tourism. Business mixes really well with other subjects. So there's also many combined courses to choose from. It's good if you're not quite sure between 2 subjects, but it's important to think about how they link together and how that might benefit you in the future in terms of a career. So you're essentially studying 2 degrees at the same time, but in less detail than if you were to study them individually. There's loads of options out there, but here's some of the most popular choices. Business and psychology. So this combines the science of psychology with practical business application to improve the work environment for employees and improve productivity. So you'll know why customers think a certain way to help market to them or design products. Business and law, which is good for anyone looking to work in insurance, contracts or agreements. You could combine international business with a language. So if you were looking to work for a global company, it's likely that they're going to expect you to speak a language to a certain degree so that you can speak with clients. As an example, some investment banks seek graduates who can do business in a second language for some of their vacancies. Business and a science subject such as chemistry. So with this, you could go on to work for a company, maybe an oil company in research and development, or in the business side of things, presenting and advising on products. You're going to have the knowledge for both sides, which would make you a sought after candidate. Pathway courses allow you to study business management as a whole with a greater focus on a certain area, and then it can be reflected in your degree title. So for example, business management marketing rather than just business management. So a lot of universities will have a common first year for business management. So anyone studying business management with these pathways will likely study the same thing on the first year, and at the end of your first year, you'll be able to switch pathways if you actually find that you preferred a different area. So it's nice to have that flexibility to make a decision at a later date. So we had to look at the options available to you. I know that's quite a lot to take in, but hopefully it just got you thinking about the different things out there, and maybe taught you about some courses that you didn't even know existed. So because of the amount available, especially with the broader subjects like business management, because they're practically offered at every university in the UK, it can feel quite daunting to narrow down your options. So these next slides will hopefully help you with that. Firstly, you need to realise that no two university courses are the same. So it's quite an easy mistake to presume that business management at one university is going to be the same at business management at another university, because with BTECs and A-levels, GCSEs, everybody follows the same syllabus. So if you're doing the extended BTEC in business in London, you'll be learning the exact same stuff as someone doing the BTEC in business elsewhere in the country. But at university, this isn't the same. So each course is being created by a team of academics that's based on their interests and expertise. And that's because, as well as teaching you, they're also carrying out advanced research in that area. So there will very likely be similar core modules, but it's always good to check what the optional modules are available to you, just to make sure it sounds interesting to you. I'd also recommend paying attention to the teacher methods. So have a look at how much of the work is practical versus theory. So if you've studied a BTEC, you're quite lucky because you've had a lot of practical experience, just like it is out there in a career. So you just want to make sure that at university, it's going to be what you're expecting. If that information isn't available on the university's course page, just reach out to the university, either the course leader, current students, or the course inquiries team. See how much time they spend on coursework and practical work versus essays and exams, obviously dependent on what you prefer as an individual. And then there's some other things to consider too. So the number of contact or teaching hours you get. So that's going to differ between courses and universities. And that's because at university, there's a really big focus on independent study, which you'll likely be familiar with as a BTEC student working on your projects. But just have a look at how many hours of teaching you're getting a term, and also how it's taught. So is it in person? Is it in big lectures? Is it mostly seminars? Is any of it online? How big are the class sizes? Some courses will also have trips each year to help you contextualise your learning, and some courses will have work experience modules built in. So that's going to be a really great way for you to gain valuable experience before you graduate. There's the option to study abroad in many cases, and perhaps there's a country you've always wanted to go to, or if you're looking maybe to do business internationally, that could be really important for you. And many of them will also offer a year-long work placement, which is going to really set you apart from other graduates. So if you do a industry placement or you're abroad, we call this a sandwich course, because basically that study abroad year or work placement year is sandwiched between your second and third year. Now, for something like business, gaining that experience is going to be really important. So if you think you'd like to do that that year placement, definitely opt for a university that offers that. And then the assessment methods. So just like the course content is going to differ between courses and universities, the way that you're assessed is also going to be different. So some courses will have less coursework and mostly focus on exams, which might not be what you're used to or what you enjoy. So just check out the course page, as I said, make sure it's what you're going to enjoy and what you're going to excel at. You also want to have a look to see if the course is accredited by any recognised accrediting bodies, as this can make you more appealing to employers. So an accredited course is one that's been approved by a professional body. It provides assurance that the course has met a gold standard in the quality of teaching, its facilities and the student learning experience, and it has to continue to meet those standards or it will lose its accreditation. Now, just because a course isn't accredited doesn't mean it's not going to be good for you. Not all courses are. It's only really necessary if there's a professional qualification in the industry you plan to work in, as it's going to help you get ahead. So here's some of the main examples. So for human resource management, most employers are going to require you to have a CIPD accreditation. So with an accredited undergraduate degree, you'll likely get their intermediate level award. To become a chartered accountant, you need to sit exams as part of this process. So universities that are accredited will offer exemptions from these. So, for example, the ACCA board has 14 exams in order to become a chartered accountant, but you can sit a maximum of 9 of these whilst you're at university. So that makes it a lot easier once you graduate. So have a look at how many exemptions the university offers, because they're going to differ between each. For finance, a CFA accredited programme is helpful as it will prepare you for the CFA programme exams after graduation. And the CIM is the world's largest organisation for professional marketers, so that can really set you apart. So these are just a few of the examples, as I said. So there's many other reputable accrediting bodies out there. One thing to note is that if you are looking at the combined degrees or pathway degrees, they might not offer the same level of accreditation, because if you're splitting your time between subjects, you might not be spending enough time on them. So just have a look and don't be put off or disappointed if it's not part of it. And then there's some other things that you need to consider, which is going to differ greatly between you and your peers, because everybody has got different priorities. So a big one is entry requirements. So firstly, you want to make sure that you're studying the right qualifications to get in, and then that you're predicted the right grades to get in. So the requirements are going to differ between courses and universities. So one might want you to have, say, distinction in the business extended diploma, and another might accept merit pass. Equally, if you're studying just the diploma, not the extended one, you're probably going to be required to have an A level alongside that. So just do your research early on in case you need to change your level 3 choices to make sure you're going to get onto that course that you're really excited about. And then there's some other things to think about. So you have a specific career in mind. What facilities does the university have on offer? What's the nightlife like, if that's something that you want from university? What support services are available, etc., etc. So based on these points that I've just covered, try and figure out what's the most important things to you when choosing your course. So I would suggest that people pick their 3 main priorities or 3 non-negotiables that they want when choosing where to study. So as an example, I could say the course has to have a work placement, because I really want to get that work experience to set myself apart from other people. There has to be some entrepreneurship support or funding available and evidence what past students have done, because I'd really like to start up a business idea I've had for a while. And it has to be within an hour commute from my home. So once you figure out your priorities, that's going to make it a lot easier to narrow down your choices. So there's a lot of resources and support out there to help you with researching your options. So first of all, your school or college might put on a higher education fair where you'll get the chance to speak with university staff and student ambassadors. So definitely take advantage of that. Just go and speak to people, tell them that maybe you're a little bit stuck in making a decision and see what they suggest you study. They'll be more than happy to help, and they don't know you as a student, so they can offer some unbiased advice versus what your teachers might recommend to you. I'd also suggest having a look on the UCAS website. So if you go to ucas.com/explore/subjects, this is a really good place to just have a look at some courses in more detail, and you can use this little white heart to favourite them, and you'll have an account, and then you can look at all the different options you put there. So if we look at marketing as an example, It's going to give you more information about what it is, what type of careers you could do, what you can expect from a degree and the entry requirements. I'd also recommend having a look on ucas.com/chapter students, just so that you can speak with current students. They're also really experienced, you know, they've been there, they've probably were in your shoes where they didn't quite know what to study, so they can give you a bit of an insight in what their course is like. So if you just went to business and management, you can see all of the different students here. So they might be studying a straight course, business and management, or they might be doing something like a combined honours, modern language and business management. And you can just speak with them, ask their advice, see what they like about their course and if it sounds like a right fit for you. If you're really stuck on what to study, you can just have a look on Google for what business course is right for me, and there'll be a lot of quizzes available. So they might not be, you know, the best thing, but it could just open up a few ideas for you. When it asks you certain questions like, do you like working in a team? Do you like working alone? It does get you thinking about if that course is going to be the right one for you. So you'll hear this a lot from different universities, but it's a really good idea to go and see what a university is like at an open day, just to get a feel for the place and make sure you feel welcome there. You know, you wouldn't buy a house online before viewing it, or an expensive car. So obviously you're going to be spending money on university and spending a lot of time there. So definitely try before you buy. So you don't have to go to, you know, every course you're considering, just maybe go to your top 1 or 2, see if you like the area, the teaching team, and speak with current students too. Just get their opinion and see if they seem happy overall. Have a think about how that environment makes you feel. So it's okay to be nervous. Obviously it's going to be a big change, but is that nervous, you know, an excited nervous, or is it, you know, you not feeling quite at home there and maybe you need to have a look somewhere else? So because of COVID, a lot of universities are still holding their open days online until September 2021. Hopefully by then restrictions will have eased as planned, and you'll be able to get back on campus having a look around. Once you've got your subject area down, you can do some more research using league tables. So there's a number of these available from different companies, and their primary purpose is to give you a general overview of how the university compares to others. So they each use a different set of parameters, so things like the amount of research the uni does, the amount they spend on services, and the graduate prospects. What I will say is to take league tables with a pinch of salt. They only show you a small part of the overall picture, so they can be very misleading. So some universities might have, you know, a standout finance course, a standout business course with excellent student satisfaction, but that's not often taken into account. It can become diluted as it looks at the university as a whole, so don't always use it as your main judgment. Equally, with any surveys like the NSS, you'll find a lot more people are going to go online to moan and give a negative review than they will to praise, so these can be a bit skewed. Okay, so that's it from me. So my last two bits of advice I'm going to leave you with is firstly to make sure that you're making your own decision. Okay, so definitely reach out to your teachers, your family and your friends for advice. But what you choose to study needs to be your decision. Okay, if you like the science of something, explore it, see if that's the right option for you, see if that's going to help you in the long term, and just make sure you're making that decision for yourself. And then lastly, just remember not to put too much pressure on yourself. Okay, there's always the option in your first or even second year to switch courses if you realise that another area is more interesting, depending on what, you know, level 3 qualifications you have and how well you do in that first year. Universities will be you know, open to speaking to you switching courses. So just know, no matter where you end up, even if it's not what you first expected, as long as you take advantage of the opportunities that university has, you're going to likely have a great time regardless. Okay, thank you for listening.